Welcome back to Change Ed, the #1 rated podcast in all of Pennsylvania and soon to be California as well. More on that in just a minute. This is a special episode. We are recording live from PETE&C. We are over at the Hershey Hotel. So if you're hearing background noise, that's because we have lots of friends, a huge crowd of people who are staring and watching this show.
4 people.
There was even applause in the background. You might have heard that if you're listening.
There was.
Yeah. And Andrew. That's happening all the time. Please.
Oh my God.
Anywho,
Can't wait to
I
check that
am
out.
your host, Andrew Kuhn, educational consultant from Montgomery County Intermediate Unit, and here with me is
Patrice Semachek, an educational consultant from the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit.
and we are super excited to have
Back with us.
everyone's favorite guest, now a temporary, not sure it's going to be any kind of a commitment, co-host.
Maybe because he doesn't really want to do it.
Oh, sorry. I was just introducing myself. I'm Jason Zimmerman from IU13. I am a teaching and learning consultant for STEM.
Did
Just
the
so we're
title
all clear,
change
when I
again?
point to
That
you, that's
title
when you
changed
talk.
again.
That title change, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
And
he said
also, I
three
was going to
different.
clarify last time, I think both times, you said Lebanon, Lancaster, Lebanon, but it's actually Lebanon.
Right.
He
Well,
fixed it with
Yeah, okay,
Ken.
good. Oh, wonderful.
so
Sorry.
I appreciate you waiting until now to clarify that. I'm glad we didn't have that conversation earlier.
Oh, that's why I didn't listen to it. I was like, I didn't listen to that one.
I'm thrilled to introduce our guest,
He's
who
sitting here
obviously
like, what did I get
listening to the
myself into?
podcast is not a requirement to be on it.
Tremendous opening. Thoroughly entertained. I might just want to sit here and listen to you guys go back and forth.
We're super excited to have with us Jason Feig.
Feig.
Yep,
Oh,
we're going
even
to start
so.
that over again.
See, if
3,
you
2,
would
1.
have written it down, you would have
Yeah.
They both
actually
work.
had the
They both
correct.
work.
No, that's
No,
you
we
know
gotta
what?
get
Some of
your
us
name
as
right.
professionals, I wrote down the phonetic.
Yeah.
And
of his
this
last
is why
name, but-
Jason is here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on last time ever. I am so sorry, and we even made such comfortable accommodations
Yeah,
for
this
you.
is amazing. Like I said before, this is one of the most comfortable chairs I've ever been in.
Yeah. Change Ed spares no expense. So I would like to welcome Jason Feig from Khan Academy. Super glad to have you. We are talking about all things education and all things that are changing, and I know that you have a unique lens from the AI world. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, why you decided to come on this amazing, world-renowned podcast?
Absolutely. I'm part of the district partnerships team at Khan Academy, based in Michigan. Started my career as a classroom teacher, school administrator. Spent a few years working with College Board talking about the SAT, which is one of the most exciting topics sometimes when you're talking to schools on the planet. And then I had an opportunity to move from College Board to join the Khan Academy team. And so I'm part of the district partnerships team, which essentially I'm often the first point of contact for schools interested in talking more about Khan Academy, the work that we were up to. That work 2 years ago when I started at Khan Academy started really around our primary platform, our full-length master-enabled courses. A school district would reach out and they would ask us about a closer partnership because our platform is free and our mission is a free world-class education for anyone, anywhere. The next layer of that would be a district that's using our platform that wants a closer relationship. And then all of a sudden, AI and Conmigo emerged. So the vast majority of the conversations, first point of contact with schools is typically starting with, hey, we heard about Conmigo
Yeah.
or AI in general. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah.
So you said you're based out of Michigan,
Michigan, yes.
not California.
Yeah,
So-
I wasn't going to correct you because
you totally
if it
should.
doesn't go well, then we want to maybe keep it to California, not Michigan. Is that okay?
No, you correct him as much as possible.
Yeah.
This is
Okay,
the goal.
that's,
You didn't lay the ground rules out before we started.
How could it go wrong?
here's Jason Feig,
so
not
far.
from California.
No, stay with the California thing for
Yeah.
now. Let's see how it goes.
I think something that I was thinking of while we were talking about that is how future thinking does an organization like Khan Academy have to be to know that kind of AI is coming down the pike, to be prepared for those things? Because the coding behind all of that, to do like a platform to be ready to roll that out, is huge. And that's not something that's going to happen in a day. You need to have preparation for that. How does that work?
Runway, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you've had a chance to hear Sal Khan, any of his conversations recently, he tells a story about OpenAI approaching Khan Academy when GPT-4 was available. And it was really our first point to say, this has a real shot to be a powerful one-to-one tutor. So just sort of at a high level, there really isn't an incredibly long runway from where we started this conversation to today.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything in education sort of move at this rate. OpenAI gave us a chance to, before we release publicly, to engage with GPT-4. And because one-to-one tutoring is a really big deal, it was, again, our first shot at saying, hey, this might be something that we can create that it's layered over our platform.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because one of the distinctions, and I'm finding this more and more, I work based in Michigan, but I work with the surrounding states, is the general conversation with schools is AI central.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to slow that conversation down to dial back to say, at the core of what we do, we have full-length mastery-enabled courses.
Right.
Yeah.
Conmigo layers over the top of that, and it acts like a powerful one-to-one tutor and a tremendous teacher assistant. So I'm seeing a lot of things getting lost in translation, right?
Yeah.
And like AI is incredible. The one-to-one tutor is fantastic. I think it really has a chance to support students in a powerful way, but I think on the other side to really help teacher efficiencies in a way like we've never seen before.
Yeah.
I know that when I was teaching in Philadelphia for a while, and I taught an autistic support class at my IU, and we would heavily rely on Khan Academy.
Primary
then,
platform,
right?
yeah.
It was such a phenomenal tool. It was a really great resource too, to send home to parents and say, this is what we talked about. And so when you're at home having these conversations, let's talk about it in this way. So we're having all these really great conversations. And to me, the idea of layering in that AI piece is probably going to be such a game changer for everybody in the classroom to take it to the next level. I'm super excited to experience it.
And I will say, listening to Sal talk about AI and its use and that personal tutor, right, having that connection, has had a significant impact on the way that we think about AI and how we can use it. And actually, we have been working a lot and working with educators and saying, think of it as a co-pilot, right? Not just a tool that does things, but a co-pilot that can be on board with you and that you can interact with. And that improves as you do that interaction, right? It's a learning tool. Just what you were saying was super fascinating, but also interesting how societally, how we can get this idea or this image in our minds of what it is, and then all the work that we need to do to kind of reroute that, right, and educate and inform along the path.
Yeah, because we're fortunate to engage with so many schools and have so many conversations early in this sort of journey. One of the things that surfaces with teachers first, once we get past the initial concern or heartburn, if you will, around is AI going to take my job? The answer is no. We need high quality instruction and the human element more than ever, is to say, and I will often frame it to say, my wife's an educator. She teaches third grade. And I think about those hours between 6 and 8 p.m. on Sunday night where your brain shifts to the prep for the next week. And I try to frame the conversation to say, what are those things that give you a little bit of heartburn in that window of time of preparation? What if we could help you be more efficient?
Yeah.
And I have some just really beautiful examples of engaging with schools to watch, whether it's individual groups of teachers along this journey, to say, I'm not really sure, but we open up the lesson plan feature as an example and say, okay, what are you teaching on Monday? And within seconds, they can have a lesson plan. And the more precise they are in prompting, it only gets better and better and better.
Absolutely. That makes me think about, does Khan Academy at this point, and forgive me for not knowing the answer I could probably research this myself, but since you're here, I'll ask you.
I might not know the answer.
Very true, but you probably will. Is there some sort of professional development plan for teachers that you have right now? Because I think that's a huge part. You talked about the prompting that you use. That's a huge piece in this.
Yeah.
The technology is only as good as the user, right? So what's in place to kind of help those teachers know how to use it and use it well?
Yeah, we probably should have started at the front end with that, right?
We can move it.
And so our support, we're very, very sensitive to that journey that teachers will be on. And so the support that we provide school districts when they partner with us and they layer on Conmigo over the top of our primary platform, we have a period of time where we help them understand how to use, and to your point, Jason, about the prompting. One of the most noticeable challenges out of the gate right now is the ability to prompt precisely. And so we provide training and support. We have a professional learning team and we have a success team. So when we partner with somebody, it's very important for us to make sure there's a human element involved and a conversation, because prior to Conmigo, the conversation's pretty straightforward. Full-length master-enabled courses, here they are, it makes sense. AI is a much longer runway, a much deeper conversation, and at times a much more complicated conversation.
Yeah, I like, we've used this kind of airplane analogy with like the runway, also the co-pilot. I think sometimes the misconception, and you talked about this a little bit, is the idea that AI makes it so that someone else is flying the plane and you can take a nap in the back. And that's not what it's supposed to be, right? It is the co-pilot to kind of help you and provide you with a guidance on the side, but like you're still steering the plane and still doing that work. It's just the efficiency piece, right?
Efficiency, and also it opens up this opportunity to engage in a deeper way with students, because if all those tasks that teachers are involved in, if we can make those more efficient, then in theory it would open up this opportunity to engage students. And then the feedback that you get. I mean, one of the things I didn't surface at the beginning that is really important to us is when we built Conmigo, we paid attention to guardrails. And the guardrails where the student's conversation is flagged and can be monitored by the teacher if a student engages inappropriately. Those are really important features when we think about this journey teachers will be on about how do I know how students are engaging. And so that, I think that's a really important element that we built in that gives a little more peace of mind as we're walking this sort of journey with teachers and they're asking some really rich questions. Once they know that the conversations are monitored. The other thing I think that will happen is even if a student engages, once students know that that's monitored, you see this downturn of doing what a student just might do to start.
One thing that's fascinating is how integrated AI already is in our lives, but we're not aware of it, or we don't know that it's happening. I was having a conversation with someone who was in the military, and they were saying that we as human beings have limitations. We hit a wall and we can only process so much. And so at one point in time, there were two individuals in a fighter jet, but then they went down to one, and they were finding that there was just this capacity that they couldn't go any further. So they have to have a computer take over at a certain point and do certain things if you can't handle all the things that are happening at the same time. And I see kind of similarities when we're talking about AI, that we have limitations, that we can only go so far, but this opens up in a whole new world that we can really expand beyond barriers that we've had before as individuals, and we can accomplish a lot more.
Yeah, and when you think about, from a school perspective, a teacher that has 25, 30, 35 students in a class, and you think about all those learning needs, I'm especially excited about to see, as we have a deeper understanding of how to use AI in an efficient way, what that does for student learning, student engagement, the ability for teachers to engage in a deeper way relationally.
And this is what the keynote this morning, Richard Collada from PETE and ASCD was talking about. It's pulling in, like, what can AI do that I can remove from my plate so that I can expand upon the things that are valuable from the human perspective. I look at it from like a grading perspective. We don't have to do all the proofreading and all of that. Like, AI could do that for us so that we can actually put in the thoughtful comments to our students so that they don't just get back the paper and it's filled with all the errors that they made grammatically, but you're actually saying this was valuable information, and that builds those relationships and makes that human impact so much more valuable in that space.
Yeah, we saw this come to life within Conmigo on the essay feature, and the ability for students to engage in their initial writing process and get active feedback. Anytime you're in a room with teachers, and even if they're hesitant, particularly English language arts teachers, they're involved in the writing process, they see that. There's a big time saver right there.
I mean, that's the huge thing for anyone, that's taught ELA at any point, is like when you have all those essays to grade and you're taking that stack of 60 like 4-page papers home
for the weekend.
Exactly. We need to make that a little bit more efficient so that we're not spending our entire weekend doing that. AI can do some of that work for us.
Well, and the key too is it's the quickness in which kids are getting the feedback.
Exactly.
Right? So we know that timely feedback is one of the more important things when we're looking at like John Hattie's work.
Absolutely.
Like, the faster we can get feedback to them, the sooner that they'll be moving forward and things like that. Again, using this as a co-pilot, like we've been saying, is really important because it takes some of the burden off of the teacher, but it also makes your classroom more efficient and the kids get the feedback when they need it.
Using the analogy we've been going with, right? We talked about the runway, the co-pilot. I'm going to continue it on. Not something new for me saying here on the podcast, but we have to land this plane because we're already at our time. Jason, as one of our favorite guests from Michigan, I'm going to give you the second to last final word. Do you have any closing thoughts?
He has to have the final word.
In case you didn't know, Andrew will always have the final word.
Oh, well, I thought I had the final word, but
you will.
We'll give it to you.
We'll
You
cut
do
it off.
until I
Yeah,
add
we'll
mine.
cut it
Yeah,
off.
it makes total sense.
I'll pause. So
Based on how you position me in the seating arrangement, I didn't expect to get the final word today. Maybe I'll be on the other side of the table the next time.
Yeah, listen, if you want to bump him out, you can do that.
We'll see how this comes out, then we'll decide.
If we get viewers from California, you can have my seat.
Done deal. I'm going to make some calls right after
Exactly. I
this.
have friends
It's over for you
I
now.
have friends in California. I'm just going to send them the podcast.
Well, obviously, from our perspective, we're super excited. It is just incredible how, in a really short window, the conversation has shifted. So I think from our standpoint, we've got some really tremendous partnerships already happening across the country. We learn so much from teachers, and they give such tremendous feedback. But I feel really good that we're in a space that it's going to help that one-to-one tutor challenge that we've had for a long time. And I really do believe on the efficiency side, as teachers begin this journey, we're going to find efficiencies like we've never seen before.
That's awesome.
Jason, we thoroughly enjoyed having you on the show.
Yeah.
I appreciate your personality and all the work that you're doing as well. I think it's really important work, and that's the reason that we created this show as well. We want to empower educators and support them and allow them to hear about all these great things that are happening, because when you're in the four walls, it kind of narrows down to be your world. So we want to be able to open it up to them as well. The one thing that really stuck out to me, you were talking about the heartburn, and that really stuck out. And so what I took away from that was that the acronym for AI is anti-acids for individuals.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I copyrighted that, so
That's what he was doing.
Academy wants to
That's
take.
incredible.
But that's what he was doing while you were talking. He was thinking of that, not
Yeah.
what you were actually
No,
saying.
no.
It's fine.
I remember most of what you said, and I'm going to listen to it again just in case.
He does this all the time.
It's just unbelievable.
talking about
I thought this was
those
a
guard-
professional
Yeah.
organization
Yeah.
here.
No.
Oh, it is not.
Mistakes were made,
No.
Jason.
The opposite.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being on the show. And on behalf of the entire Change Ed team, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in and listening, and go find your own anti-acid
And
for
subscribe.
individuals. And subscribe.
Yep, subscribe.
Subscribe.